Welcome back in conversation with the leaders at Pidilite. We've spoken a fair bit about business. Let's speak a little about your journeys as well, and two decisions that, according to you, changed the game for Pidilite in your tenure.
A, get the portfolio right. B, get the team and people and culture right.
Was there a decision that you think could have gone either way at some point when the company was at a crossroads? If you could take us through that.
So we've had a lot of, if a company does not make mistakes, then they are not risking enough. So we made lots of mistakes. Fortunately, our whole model is based on experiment a lot, experiment in small places, with small amounts at stake. And once you've got it right, then bet the farm.
All right. And the one piece of advice that you would give to Sudhanshu as he takes over?
A, be himself. C, keep smiling, work hard and play hard.
And the one thing that you will do slightly differently than what was done earlier while maintaining the core?
So I think one area which we will accelerate, we've talked about this as well, is our continuous journey on digital and AI and that transformation. So how do we keep the organization ready? Because my belief is, Mangalam, all companies are technology companies in today's day and age. And how do we infuse more of that? We've begun that journey, but how do we accelerate that journey?
And what new business line or product categories excite you the most right now as you look into the next decade?
So there are quite a few. I think our tile adhesive business, which Bharat talked about, has a huge runway. Our waterproofing business continues to have a considerable runway. And then we have newer pieces which are coming in. I think our intended entry into electronics adhesives is also going to be exciting. And that's a pioneering space as of now, but that's an interesting space.
That's something that I'm very personally excited about as well, because I said that on the air the other day, that anything where two things can be joined, Pidilite is looking at entering that space itself. You know, from Asian Paints to Mondelez to Pidilite, what has been the most unconventional leadership lesson that you've learned across your...
You know, a lot of times people tell you that you have to be a certain kind of person to succeed in a certain environment. And I went from a nice collegiate environment to Cadbury, which was then a little more formal, so on and so forth. Cadbury became Mondelez, which was, from being a British company, suddenly became an American company. And everybody said, oh, this is going to be very hierarchical. Frankly, the lesson I learned was you can only be yourself, back yourself, and, while you listen to everybody, you can never be anybody but yourself. So be authentic to what your style is and what you do.
You both have decades of leadership behind you. From when you started to now, what has changed and what has remained the same in business itself, and how have you all, moved yourselves with the times?
See, I think what has remained the same, for example, broadly, I would say for myself, I've always had a consistent leadership style. I'm very clear, a leader first should be very clear where he's going, or he or she is going, and B, he should be able to excite others to go on that journey with them believing it's their journey. And he should be able to create an environment where people enjoy the journey, enjoy themselves, and there's a mattress to fall back if they have mistakes. And the leader's job is to just do that. I don't think that has changed. It doesn't matter whether you're here or you're in Switzerland or you're in Singapore. That's the philosophy I followed. What's changed is, frankly, agility. I mean, that whole adage of, now it's not look before you leap, it is look while you leap, and the ability to therefore decide far more quickly, be clear that making mistakes is much easier. I think really the big change is from a nice test match world, it's a T20 world.
What's your highest high in Pidilite been so far and the lowest low?
My highest high, very simply, is I was at a sales conference about 2 years back, and I do an exercise with this. I'm a very firm believer in listening to the sales force, and you got a set of, salesmen up on the stage, and you ask them the question, okay, tell me two things that have really changed in this company, and two things that we should change. And they all got together, they said, sir, एक चीज़ जो बदल गई है, अब ऐसा है इस कंपनी में हमारी सुनवाई होती है. यहाँ कुछ भी हम बोले तो उस पर टाइम बेशक लगे पर एक्शन ज़रूर होता है. I think that is a real, if your sales force can tell you that, listen, I have this, so on and so forth, and I can say this frankly to the MD of the company, I think that's a real high.
And the lowest low?
I think the lowest low was losing colleagues during COVID.
And what would your favorite Pidilite ad be?
My favorite Pidilite ad is the Fevicol Sofa ad.
You?
It's a very tough one between the sofa and the bus, but I would also say sofa. That sofa is like,
It's incredible.
Since one was intimately, I mean, you know that it was actually supposed to be a radio spot and how it became but I think the Pandey brothers have excelled themselves.
One thing that you admire about Bharat and you wish you had?
His gargantuan memory about people. He will remember everybody Mangalam he has met by name. But not only that, he will then have the history. He will tell you where he met him, where he met you, who your partner or spouse is, how are your children doing, where does he get all of that for everyone? And you know, starting from the doorman to the board colleagues or chairman, I'm saying, you know, it's for everyone and all across the country, wherever he meets.
What about Sudhanshu? What you found was, you know, something which was new and something that you found very refreshing and inspiring perhaps?
See, refreshing, first, you know, and this was obviously one of the also reasons why we were keen to get him on board. He's a very decent human being. Sudhanshu is genuinely a good guy, okay? And that's very important in Pidilite. You want people with their heart in the right place. But what I admire about this fellow is his discipline. You know, keep him and make sure he consumes some amount of single malt at night, but next morning he's running 10 kilometers at an unearthly hour again. And I really admire his discipline and the ability of how he does that.
And what would your legacy be, according to you?
There are enough people to tell you. I don't believe that I have to talk about let others tell me what my legacy is.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Bharat. Thank you so much, Sudhanshu. This has been an absolute pleasure. Wish you both a great life. You at Pidilite, you post Pidilite. And for all the investors who are watching Pidilite ki duniya, that's what they're looking at, right? Fevicol ka jod. Whether that continues or not is something only time will tell. And time has told you it has continued well.